Okay, hi everybody. I'm Beth Hulbert, aka Dr. Beth. And the reason I wanted to call this group together was because I just wanted to figure out something that could be done to help heal some of the incredible pain and woundedness and hate and the state of where we are. So what I was looking for, there are people that are on blue and in so much pain that they are wanting to create violence. There are people that are white supremacists that are in so much pain and so much hate and they're in violence. And I'm glad for people to be wherever they are. It's okay to have your feelings. It's okay to a lot of people have reason to hate and to be in hurt, and I'm not here to judge any of that, make any of that bad and wrong. As a matter of fact, what I'm here to do is actually create a space that those of us that are able to be in our heart and maybe be able to see this from a spiritual standpoint, that it's healing the whole planet by us waking up to what has already been here. So there's nothing new that's happening. The light is on, and everything that has been there that anyone that is not Caucasian has experienced, has been trying to say for years and eons, and sometimes it takes when it takes a place when you've been in somebody else's shoes, like when the Republicans had to actually hide from the terrorist. They now get what it feels like to be hunted and to be in fear for their life and all the other things that they're having to feel right now, which many people are already feeling. So I had a dream the other night that and I'll say Carolyn and Sharon. And what I'm going to do is just do a real quick intro of why I'm doing this, and then I'm going to have you guys say why you're here. And I had a dream, and let's say Carolyn said, "I need you to come to this meeting with me. Sharon's in trouble." And so I go with Carolyn to the meeting, and she says Sharon was not willing to lie, and the head of the meeting her life is in danger. So if she doesn't lie, they're going to kill her. And so Carolyn and I were standing outside. I went to another table, and I'm like, I'm worried about Sharon, that she might get killed. And somebody looked at me and said, you need to worry about you. And about that time, I saw that Sharon got killed by the boss. Carolyn and I saw this happening. Now we're all in the mob. So now we have to either lie or we're going to get killed. So, and when I woke up, I realized that's how many of the Republicans feel right now. That they woke up in a mob and they didn't even know they were in a mob. And then I had this awareness that many of us that are Caucasian, we're also in a mob. And we don't even know we're in a mob. Because even if we're ignorant, there is racism. Even if we're complicit, there is racism. Even if we're unconsciously racist, there's racism. And so we're in a white mob. Whether we choose to be in a white mob or not, we're seen as the white mob. Like the Republicans, whether they choose, they are seen as the mob. And what I realized is in America, we're also seen as a mob. So we in America, the rest of the country, the rest of the world is, hey Deja, the
Hey,
rest of the world is actually kind of rooting us on to go down. Like we've been so full of ourselves, we think we're all that. We think we're so superior. We think we're all so. And what I realized, I'm a licensed child and family psychologist, and I work with parents and teenagers. And one of the things that I have found in working with families is everybody at the base of their acting out behavior, they're just trying to survive. They're hurt, they're wounded, and we do stupid stuff when we're hurt and scared and wounded. So I'm looking for people to play with me that are not hurt in this moment, that are not scared in this moment, and that have worked on themselves enough that they're willing to look at the mirrors in what's going on in the world right now, so that nobody on this call is superior to anybody else, and nobody on this call is inferior to anybody else. Does that make sense? Eric, does that make sense? Sharon, yes?
Yes.
You guys
And
get
another
it?
thing I would say is nobody on this call is different from anyone else.
Right. Right. Even though
That's a
we
big
are
piece of it.
even though we are physically different in our hearts and in our souls, and even though our experiences are different, and even though our education is different, and everything about us is different, at the soul we're spiritual beings, wanting love, wanting to be safe, wanting to be seen, wanting to be heard, wanting to be known. And so I was just thinking, how can we hold a safe haven for other people, another option other than hate? How could we create another option? Sharon Swan Cowdery and I, we did a power lab 30 years ago, and you came in as a top, a middle, or a bottom, and it was a week-long course, and you got to have the experience. We both came in as bottoms. You came in as a bottom too, right, Sharon? We both came in as bottoms, and we had the experience of inequity, and just like two people would get paid doing the same job, and one would get paid 50 cents and the other one would get paid $5. Like, it's just no rhyme or reason. It made no sense. And Sharon and I have talked for years about that experience. It was one of the most powerful things that I have done. And I always wanted to go back as an elite. And I feel like right now, everybody that's on this call, we are elites. I just got chills. We have the opportunity to heal the people that are wounded and in pain, and that are going to be doing stupid, stupid, stupid stuff. And the first step to that is to do the work within. And then the second step is to help other people do the work within. So that's why I'm here. And I'm going to tag Sharon. We had this conversation. Look at those eyes. We had this conversation the other day, and I told her I was thinking about this, and she said, I would love to do this. And then I just started putting the word out. And then, Deja, I'm going to have you go next. Or Deja, why don't you go next? And then, Sharon, I'll give you a minute to think. So Deja is in my family. She's been taking care of my mom and my dad for 5 years, and feels like my sister, and I love her to pieces. And we talk some of this stuff, and she sets me straight some days. So Deja, why
Yes.
are you here?
Why am I here? Well, one, I told you the other day, one thing I never expected to see on TV when I had my children was what we're seeing right now.
Yeah.
I never expected to see that.
Yeah.
So I'm just wanting to meet up with like-minded people like myself and try to better what's going on in this world.
And I loved what you said, Deja. You've told your friends and family, stay home. Say it your way.
Stay home. This is not Black people's fight.
Yeah.
This is not our fight.
Let the
The
whites
only thing that'll happen is Blacks will just get killed and nothing
be-
will happen after that.
and be blamed.
Yeah,
Right.
they'll be blamed as the person who started it all.
That's right. That's right. So, anything else you want to say, Deja, why you're here, or what you'd like to get out of this, or?
Only thing I want out of this is everybody to see that we are all the same. We are all the same. Just because our skin color is different does not make us any different. We are all the same.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the reason why I love working at the Halberts. I mean, I don't think I've ever heard a racist remark. I don't think, heck, I feel like Beth is my sister.
Yeah.
I take care of Barbara and Bill like those are my grandparents or my mom and my dad.
Yeah.
I never see a color. My kids never see a color. My kids never question, oh, that's Auntie Beth. What? They don't know. My best friend, Kayla, we don't, all our kids are different color, but they don't ever say anything about the color of their skins or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's just like, that's something I was never raised to see a color of the skin.
And thank God you haven't had your kids to have that same pain. And some of the people that have lived lives long enough, they have had pain. And they have
Oh,
had so much hurt that it's like, okay, now it's my time. Let me get my gun. Oh, we going to get some guns? Let's get some guns.
right.
Let's play this thing out. So, and would have every right to do so. Would have every right to do so. So, Sharon, why are you here?
So I apologize if you're hearing an echo, but that must be something with my computer. Can you hear me
It's good
clearly?
Yeah,
Yeah,
no
it works great
Okay.
when you talk and we don't talk.
So I'm here because I've been retired about a year and I've spent my life working with all kinds of people to get them to work in business settings mainly in a more efficient way to utilize everybody's skills and abilities and to make people feel like they're contributing and they have a part in a system. And what's made me very sad in the last year is seeing what's going on, not just in our country, but our world with, you know, the environment, the climate, the hate. And I want to be a part of the solution, not the problem, because I have grandchildren and great grandchildren that I want to be able to say, I tried to help build them a better future. And so anything that I can do with whatever background I have, I'm wanting to do that. I'm willing to do that. My system of working is kindness. Kindness prevails over everything as far as I'm concerned. You can choose to be kind or you can choose not to be. And I don't know if any of you have ever read M. Scott Peck's book.
The Road Less Traveled.
He did a lot of work. I think he's gone now, but the road less traveled. But he did a lot of work in community building, and I was part of that. And it brought people together from all over the country into small community groups to talk about these kind of issues. And that was 25 years ago. And
Hey Sharon.
It seems like we're not moving forward, we're moving back.
Hey Sharon, turn your video off and it might help
Yes.
with give you keep talking. We can hear you, but it's a little bit hard to hear.
I don't know exactly how to turn my video.
Bottom left corner,
I
hit
can
the
stop
video.
video. That's what I have, a button that says stop.
Exactly.
Did that work?
Yes, now try it.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Sharon, it's hard to hear you. We're missing your words. You might want to call in on your phone. It might work better on your phone. Or if you can hear us, just listen in, and we'll figure this out and fix it for the next call. Is that okay, Sharon?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So mute yourself, Sharon. So, Sharon and Carolyn and I worked at Saturn, 30 years ago, Carolyn? Long time ago. And we did ropes courses and experiential things. One of the things that I saw on January the 6th, when the Republicans and the Democrats were stuck in little rooms together, it reminded me of some of the situations that we did to corporate. to wake people up and put people in stressful situations, to help them see themselves, to see who you want to be in a stressful situation. So that's why I wanted to have Sharon and Carolyn, because we've actually done this in corporate. Carolyn, you want to say why you're here?
Sure. Yeah, let's see if I'm unmuted. I'm here because my heart is breaking for our country. I love this country, and the irony is I think many of the people who are participating or participated on Wednesday, I think in their minds they would also say they love this country. And that's so startling when you think about it, that we can see things so differently, and still be like we've said, we're really all the same. We're all part of this universe. We're all, all part of God, spirit, the universe, whatever you want to call it. But yet we see things so differently. And my heart is breaking because I have 8 grandchildren now. And I wonder how do we get back to the world where an inauguration is sort of like, wow, this is a celebration. In fact, when Joe Biden was elected, I turned to David, my husband, I said, wouldn't that be cool if we could go? And then I said, oh, we can't go because of COVID. Well, now you can't go because your life is at stake, if you go. And they're saying, don't come and celebrate this wonderful future that we've got, hopefully with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. So when you sent that email yesterday or the day before, and I'm going to have to leave, I apologize, I'm going to have to leave. I'm cooking dinner for my daughter and they live right next door right now. So they just had a new baby. But I just thought if there's anything, Beth, you can be in touch with me if there's a resolution or a movement or something that we can participate in. Would you let me know? And I appreciate all of you for being here, and I'm going to have to sign off.
Okay. Love you
Okay.
bunches, Carolyn.
Love you.
Glad you jumped in. Have fun with
Bye.
those families.
Okay.
Okay, who would like to go next? Go ahead, Cecile.
Okay, so I'll introduce myself. It is Cecilia. My last name is Benford, and I had no clue what this was about. Now, I can't quite say that. That would say my sister didn't tell me, but it was a little bit about how to deal with the hate that's going on right now. So that's what I knew.
Yes.
I am very heartened to hear what you said, Dr. Hallworth. One, this is a spiritual warfare. This is spiritual. So first of all, people have to understand that. So I'm a very spiritual being. And so it just so happens that I retired the 1st of September. And at one time, when, prior to your retirement, you kind of think about what you want to do. Well, last year, as we all know, was just a tumultuous year. And I knew before I retired that it was changing not the foundation of how I viewed things, but whatever I was going to do was not going to be the same, that I had to do something different. And I've been looking for that. Well, what is that? Well, as we all know also so if I use 1st of September, so for the last 4 or 5 months, it has been, every day is a new day with craziness. And so I've been really reading a lot of different devotionals and just praying about this and, what the purpose is and how am I going to get involved in something. And, it's not enough to say we're in COVID, because here we are. Zoom is, we've all learned how to use Zoom, if nothing else. But this is so very deep. We've just, it's not even a pen that has scratched the surface of what's been said today. So
Right.
For me, the biggest thing is I'll be trying to sit on my hands and my mouth and try not to, because I have lots of thoughts about all this. I've been reading everything I can get my hands on. I've been, just doing a lot of reflecting. And so just a little bit on background, retirement was, I was a government worker. And so government work, I shouldn't say that. Having been involved with lots of people, I've always been able to get along with everybody. That's my forte, to get along with people. And so with that, I still wanted to continue the coaching, mentoring sort of thing. But today is how to get the other part, what we're talking about now. And so I had talked to a lady at my old office, and we were sharing. We had started shortly before I left the thing about diversity and inclusion. I was asking her how that was going, and so without getting into it, but that's just a little tidbit of what we are dealing with today. So I'm very happy to see all of you. I'm glad, and I know there are people who want to make a change. You did say one thing, it'll be interesting. I know we're going to come back to, because one thing for sure, while I certainly don't sit in front of the TV, because I mean, that's part of the problem with either social media. Well, I don't do much of the social media, just enough to, stay aware. But looking at following some of the things on MSNBC, somewhat CNN, you made a comment that I know we're going to come back to, and that is, it's a week now. It's a week, it's 8, 9 days, depending on how you count it. So how people thought then and how they're thinking now. And so for me right now, I got sort of people in three camps, 3 groups of people. Again, it's sort of, for me, my way, because I always want to understand why people do what they do, and to understand the history of how we got to where we are. That's sort of how I think.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
How to, deal with that. And so what it does do for me is, like you said, no judgment. It's just recognition. And when I do, because I'm not perfect by any means, but I pray about this all day. But when I do start going down that road, it's just kind of okay, taking a step back about, wow, it's like, okay, what did they think they were gonna come? You know what I'm saying? So okay.
Yep. I totally get it. I totally get it.
Why I'm here. I didn't really, the fact that my sister asked me to be here, I know it was a good thing for me to be here, but I'm very happy to participate.
Well, and I would love to connect with you afterwards and just talk one-on-one. And my point of this whole possible brainstorm was, maybe somebody will come and they'll have an idea and they take the whole group in another direction, and I'm okay with that. Maybe it's just about bringing people together and we find where we fit. And maybe it's something that this little group does, or maybe it's this group fractions off. But I just wanted to hold space so that people know that they're not alone and that they're loved. And I actually believe we've got this. I really do believe we've got this.
Well, and I don't know everybody's background, but I'm going to take your lead. And at the end of the day, I know God's in control for me.
That's why I know at the end, we win.
Right.
We all win as spiritual beings. We win. So I think we can do this the hard way, or we can do this the loving way. So I'm looking for, how can we do this the loving way? I'm so glad to meet you. Thank you to your sister from the bottom of my heart for inviting you, and we'll see what comes. Thanks, and feel free to jump in. Don't sit on your hands. Eric.
Hello. So why I'm here, I was very drawn to the topic. And Beth, I love who you are and what you do and how you think. And I'm always very excited to be part of communities and conversations, because these are important conversations. And we've had these issues happen since this country was founded, and now they're really in our face, probably more than ever before. Like, it's more prominent than ever. And so in a way, if we choose to look at it that way, we're being given a gift.
Totally.
This is really a problem, and we need to address it. And we need to have conversations like this, be in communities like this, and talk about, how do we solve this problem? And it's not an easy fix, and there's a lot of different ways to do it, but we need to have the conversations. And so I'm drawn to these topics because I want to have meaningful conversations. I want us to kind of come together, talk about these things, and figure out, what can we do about it? What's happening? What's the cause of these things? What's the potential solution? Because I'm in a lot of different communities, and almost all of them now are online. And I love that we can do this online. We can bring people literally from all over the world to have these conversations, because they're needed. And, you know, the work I do is all about speaking from your heart and really listening and showing appreciation to other people. Because I think that's part of the solution is we need to listen to the other side, right? We see that what's happening and like, oh my God, how can that be? How can they think like that? There's a reason for it. There's a reason they think that way. And, you know, there's more than one reason, but if we can listen and show some kind of compassion or empathy or some kind of understanding, that help them see that, you know what, that's just how they feel. It's just a belief they have, and there's a reason for what they're doing, instead of us trying to fix it. So I know that's part of what you do, Beth, working with families, really showing empathy and having conversations about these kinds of things. And that's what I do too. So I think it's so important for us to have these conversations, and that's what drew me to this solutions. And you know, it starts with really having open, being honest, and having real conversations like this, and really listening. You know, listening is such an important part of having you know, feeling like we're kind of just sharing some topics that we know need to be talked about. So anyway, that's where I'm coming from.
Thanks, man. Thanks. Eric does, he's like my right arm, and left foot. He helps me do all my editing and writing of all my letters and content and everything. So love him to pieces. So who wants to go next? Just unmute yourself. Why you're here. Who you are and why you're here. Go ahead, Doyle.
First off, I'm here because you invited me out of your concern for trying to make the world a better place. I have watched our country disintegrate into this chaos really since the Berlin Wall fell. We have started to really separate into tribes and to act that way with more and more force and more separation. And I believe that anything we can do to make an incremental change, there isn't a magic wand that we can wave and wake people up. It has to be a very slow, process, one person at a time. And it isn't, many people have entered into this intolerance and hate without benefit of reason. They've been manipulated. They have been indoctrinated. So reason is not going to remove it. So it really does take a movement to re-educate so that people aren't out trying to force their will on other people. We are all made of the same divine substance. Period. End of sentence. And to say that my view is better than your view is so egotistical. So anything I can do to help in that vein, I will.
Love it, Doyle. Thanks so much for being here. Who's next?
I'll go.
Go, Holly.
Hey, I'm Holly, and I'm here because Dr. Beth invited me, but also because both my grandfathers fought in World War II, and they were ordinary people dragged into this thing, and they did extraordinary things. And one of my grandpa that raised me from a baby spent all his evenings trying to figure out what the hell happened. How did World War II happen? And he really educated me well through this, and I went on to study with a lot of people at university, but I see the same thing happening now with the hate, that Hitler ensued. I see that happening now in the US. It's undeniable. The comparison has been made, but it's tangible. It's happening. And I'm here because I've seen ordinary people succumb to it, but also ordinary people triumphing over it. And I want to help with that triumph. I think Doyle, you said something about education, but not willing people into your way of thinking. I think empathy is key. And I'm working with an educational technology that is centered on empathy to bring a variety of points of view, but basically has the essence that we're all the same, made of the same spiritual divineness. I'm totally in alignment with that. And that communicating that is key, but in a variety of ways that really resonate with what that person in particular is coming from. So, and I'm working with Dr. Beth on that. So that's why I'm here.
We're looking at creating an app or a what would you call it, Holly?
It's software. It's a SaaS software, so it can be on your phone, it can be on your tablet, on your computer. It's not, it's an app, but
it's a type of artificial intelligence to bring about empathy. And so
because it's such a massive need. It's not, you have to do it one-on-one, but there's like half America is hate, and then we're hating because of that. So it's like all of America and the whole world needs it. How do you do one-on-one? You need some technology. So that's what I'm attempting to bridge.
Yeah, a lot of pain right now. Thanks, Holly. Go for it, Uncle John.
Well, I had to take my picture off because I was eating, and
Okay.
if you all want to watch that, it was kind of messy. I'm here because Beth said, Uncle John, you need to get on this, so here I am.
There you go.
A couple of things coincidentally happened this afternoon. We lost our power, lost our internet, and I was checking to see if it came back on about 2 o'clock and happened to start watching a documentary called Antidote. Has anyone seen that? Antidote? It's an antidote to the hate. I highly recommend it. It's very powerful. You can just, any group, and it's identified in this video. And of course, what they're saying is the antidote is love. And they give many, many examples of how communities express this love. The other thing that I just got that was posted on the Tennessean is from Martin Thielen, a pastor in Tennessee, and he has written A Failure of American Christianity Under President Trump. It's in the opinion section of the Tennessean, and I highly recommend that. And those are my 2 recommendations that I think this group might find helpful. And it's good to be with everybody today.
Uncle John, would you put that in the chat for me? Just type those 2 so we can find the link later. And also, Uncle John and my Aunt Margie are or were the head of an LGBTQ, I always add LMNOP, PFLAG group. And how long have you been doing that, Uncle John? How long have you been leading that?
There was a woman in Franklin, Tennessee that started the group about 7 years ago. We were in the first group that met, about 8 or 9 of us, and now they're 35 to 45. A lot of people show up now, of course, on Zoom, but we have to divide into separate groups now. It's really grown. So it's been a good group.
So awesome. So awesome. And I grew up, what's that?
Chat? I've never done that.
The chat. So looking along the bottom line, like the 4th or 5th one over, chat. And then you can type in there.
Type this in.
Larissa?
So as I listen to everyone else, I guess I'll say I might be the rabble rouser in the crowd because
Yes, we need one of those.
Can you speak up?
No. To qualify, I'm at 84%. That's all I got, man.
Okay, I'll turn my volume up. Okay, let's see if I can get you. All right.
I'm having a little bit hard time hearing you too, but we'll lean in. We're leaning in. Go for it, girl.
So I I grew up in the Air Force. I joined the Air Force, and now I'm in property management. And having said that, what I've learned is not to assume anything. Not everyone had the same experiences growing up. So that has helped me to some degree in my interactions with people. I enjoy meeting people from everywhere, but I don't say that I can get along with everyone. I say I can get along with everyone who will let me. So I'm not here to change anyone's opinion. I'm not trying to persuade. I want to deal with everyone, just as I have an open mind. So when I first meet someone, I'm just ready to meet and enjoy, maybe hopefully learn something. And so for the reason to attend this meeting is, I told Beth when I saw her invitation, I was intrigued by the concept. And one of my favorite commercials, I don't even know what the product was, but the woman who gets on and she says 2020 was a lot. So it has been quite something. And so I'm over here in the boondocks. There's nobody out here, but when I walk around and I see the American flags, it has a different meaning than it used to have. So I don't have that same comfort level as I'm taking my daily walks or whatever. So things are different, and I'm just here to see if I'm more of a problem solver. I don't like to complain. I like to take action. So we'll see what we get. But I'm here as quote unquote an open vessel. So that's me. I'm in Northern California. I didn't say that for those. I'm on the West Coast.
Awesome. And we met on a cruise ship together. We were in a business group and did a cruise together. So, okay, so let's just take a breath. And I'm just so grateful that we're all here. I don't really have an agenda. My agenda is to create a place where we can have a conversation. My agenda is open. I can see things, like I can hear dead people. I can see people that are in pain, and I have this uncanny hey Erica, I have this uncanny amount of love for people that do really stupid stuff. I actually wrote a book that's called Embracing Defiance. And so when people are acting out, and that's why I said, yay, I'm glad you're here. When people are willing to be rebel rousing, it's because they're sick and tired of being sick and tired of being sick and tired, and they are ready for action. So we got a balance between taking some action and taking some loving action. So Erica, you want to say hi and why you're here? Everybody said hi, and I'll send you the recording afterwards.
Good. I'm so glad to get the recording. I'm just tuning in between a thing I'm assisting in. It's nice to know you're creating this conversation, and I know some of you. Hello. Happy to see what gets created here and good conversations.
Okay. So I did my dissertation at Vanderbilt University 30 years ago, and it was not my dissertation, my master's thesis, and it was about valuing diversity. And wet behind the ears, I was in charge of all the groups, every group that was in Vanderbilt. There were about 12 or 14 of the different groups, and all of the leaders of those groups, and I was the leader of those groups, to how do we bring in diversity into Vanderbilt, into white supremacist Vanderbilt. And so this has been part of my love my whole life. I even remember when I was in 7th grade when they started the busing, and I was in a white, really well-to-do neighborhood, and they were going to send, everybody in my neighborhood was like going to private schools, and I said, no way, I'm going to Washington I'm going to Washington High. And it was a 7th grade. It was an all-black school. I was the only white girl on the basketball team, and it was probably my favorite year of my whole life. And I always tease that I have brown skin. You guys just can't see it. And so how do we start to move this forward? Does anybody have a question that you'd like to give the group so that we can all answer the question?
I don't have a question, but I absolutely agree with that. I grew up overseas, so I was from a very with kids from literally 50 different countries or more. Um, so I think that's part of the issue here is that so many of us don't appreciate diversity. We separate ourselves. We see ourselves as better than or less than, different from, instead of like, you know, it's so awesome that we have so many different types of people in this world and in this as well as our similarities. I think that's part of that. The solution is just like not seeing ourselves better than or less than or different from others, but just like we're human beings walking this planet and having the same characteristics and emotions and desires. And it's like if we can start to appreciate each other from that point of view, I think that opens up all kinds of doors. So just a thought.
And I also, right after my dream, I had this epiphany. You know, the lie that the election was stolen. I think the other lie that we've all been living with and we've all swallowed is that if you have white skin, you're superior to anyone else that has anything other than white skin.
White privilege.
think that is the real lie. And I think a lot of what we are doing as human beings is based on some lies. And we need to unpluck some of these lies so that we can get back to love and get back to the commonality. And that's what I do when I'm working with parents and kids. I love to do that. Even though they have knives and they're ready to kill each other, I know that the parents love their kids and I know that the kids love their parents. They just don't know how to get there the same way. And I always end up being the hero. Go ahead, Cecilia.
So, and I'm watching the clock because I have to get off today at 6 because I have another appointment. But first of all, I don't know, is anybody familiar with the book Caste?
I don't think so. CAST?
Yes.
I've heard of it. It's on the list, but I haven't gotten there.
Okay, so I want to say that, especially you, Dr. Albert, I mean, you want to talk about something that is eye-opening. I mean, I don't know. I found out about it. Oprah Winfrey was on her book club list. I don't even follow book clubs, but that one, for whatever reason, when I heard about it, I, got on it. And I don't even know how they can possibly make a book about this. A movie, they're talking about doing a movie. I have no idea how they could do this. But just kind of quickly, I remember hearing earlier Deja say something about, this isn't our fight. So one of the things that whatever way we tackle this conversation, you have a couple things going on here. So you have the Black issue or people of color issue, since you were talking about diversity. And Caste deals with, it's the whole American, how we got here. And when you were talking about growing up in the South, and I don't know if my sister thought about it, but immediately I was taken back to, we were in Mississippi at the time because my dad was in Vietnam when they were going through desegregation. Remember, Mississippi is one of the last states to do a lot of things. So in the process of things that, for me, last year, it was really the George Floyd killing that took some scabs off things that you had hidden, you just sort of worked through. So being Air Force brat, but even after that, in my adult life, for my career, I actually moved around, just kind of continued sort of, some of that Air Force moving. And it brought out a lot of things that we sort of have worked through, both sides of the aisle, since that seems to be the common phrase, not necessarily any malicious intent. It's how we are socialized to act and be. And all of a sudden now you've got a whole bunch of people saying no more. That's so right. You got that on for people of color. And so I think we do need to talk about that. But when we talk about the part that's not our fight per se, the white supremacy, that's a different issue. And although it's part of this reason I brought up caste, because it's very much a part of this. And so I do think that, so that we're just not talking, because I mean, we've got a lot we could talk about. We got to kind of figure out, well, how do you want to track? What do you want to, put this into? So for example,
Action.
I asked a question and maybe, I could say a few things another time that's relevant, so that so if I was to take that as a topic to say, okay, how can I use that to help somebody else understand? So using what John said, or I think it was him. No, I think it was Doyle. We're not going to shove anything down anybody's throat, because we know that's not the way. I'm a very logical person, but what I've learned is, you know what, you can't reason with people. You really can't.
Right.
But we can listen. And so for me, it's how do you get to share information, but it is listening first, so that they kind of say, they get that aha moment that they're interested and want to kind of break through what has happened or how they got caught up in something. Because clearly, I believe there are some people who participated last week who thought later, oh my gosh, what am I doing? So I just wanted to throw that out. I think we sort of need to, at least for me, I don't know what the answer is, but what we want to say, what are the main issues maybe?
Okay, I love that question.
Okay.
Let's put it on the chat right now, and everybody. There's actually a way to do a poll. I don't know how to do the poll, but I do know how to do the chat, and I'll save it, and we'll have access to it. So everybody, formulate your question. What are the main issues? What do you see as the main issues?
Right, that's the first thing. And
as far as what do we do
so
with?
Maybe we all should just do that.
Okay.
If I was quitting for a day, I would do that, because I think depending on the outcome of that will sort of help us go in and figure out.
Okay.
And like you said, it could be 3 different directions, and I certainly support that. But
okay, I love that. And Sharon just said, what are the resources? So let's put resources and what you have, and main issue and what you have. One of the things I would say to you, Cecilia, is I actually have quite a bit of experience with helping people that are locked. And one of the ways to do that is with questions. So if I can come up with so when I meet with somebody that has a different opinion, I'll say, tell me about that. Help me understand. I have learned so much by asking questions. I've learned so much by listening to what other people are listening to. That it's like, oh, that's why you think what you think on Fox News. Oh my God, I get it now. Now, how do we come back together? Because we're living in 2 different universes. And if you haven't seen the movie The Social Dilemma, that's another highly valued piece that will help us understand. And that actually gave me some peace of mind that that the information was coming from a computer program, not malicious people. Because the people that wrote the program didn't intend it to do what it's doing. And many of us are going to have to look at some of the things that we've put in place and see if that's really who and what we want to be. And we may have to change some of our ways of being. Doyle, what was your question?
Really, how do we find, common ground so we can start, from a plane where we agree? We can't just go in and say, you're different, stop it. We all would agree that we want peace. We want tolerance. We all agree that. How do we get there? And that's the difference. You muted yourself.
That's how I get there, Doyle. What is it that we all want that is the same thing? I want clean water. I want air to breathe. You know, I get it to the basic thing that I can get it to. I want to be alive. Sometimes I have to go so far down the hierarchy that I get to the bare minimum. Do you want your kid to be dead? Don't play chicken with a teenager because they're willing to die for their rights. Are you willing to die? Are you willing to let them die? So one of my questions is, do we want to meet again?
Yes.
And so those that said yes, when is this Friday afternoon a good time? I was thinking maybe having it a little bit later because there are several people. There's a few kids that are in school that want to do it a little bit later, and I have people that are on the East Coast, so I don't want to do it too late. What would you guys think if we did it instead of 2 o'clock Pacific, 3 o'clock Pacific? Would that knock anybody out? Eric, would that knock you out on the East Coast?
On a
Holly?
Friday?
On a Friday.
That would be fine. 6 for me would be okay, yep.
Holly, is that too late for you? 6 on a...
I usually have something on a Friday, like in the evening, but it's kind of rotating, so we can split the difference maybe.
What about 3:30? What about 5:30?
Yeah.
Okay, let me see if that gets anybody. Let me. So 3:30 is 5:30. Does that knock anybody out? 3:30 that wants to come?
It's 3:30
Pacific.
No,
No,
2:30
that's-
Pacific. 2:30 Pacific.
2:30 Pacific.
Oh, okay. Okay, so that would be 5:30.
Will you have refreshments? Yes, I will have refreshments. Did you not bring yours?
I was wishing I brought mine.
Okay, one of the ways I like to leave a meeting is to have everybody have one word out. And if you want me to text you personally, put your text and email in the chat, and I'll reach out and let everybody know what's happening. And one word out. Eric, going across.
Hope.
Cecilia.
Inspired.
Doyle.
Joy.
I'm sorry, one more time.
Joy.
Larissa.
Peace.
Sharon. Holly. Uncle John.
Belief.
Sharon, one more time. Sharon, say it one more time. Unmute. Bottom left corner.
Belief.
Relief with an R.
B.
Belief.
Belief.
Awesome. Okay, belief. Holly.
Respect.
Uncle John.
All the good words have been taken.
You can double up, Uncle John.
I like what Holly said.
Say it again.
What Holly said.
He wants to steal your word, Holly. Say it
Okay,
again.
mine would be hopeful.
All right. Love it. Deja?
Equality.
Equality?
Yep, you got it.
Awesome. Erica? You're muted, Erica. Mine would be love. And I'm just so grateful that you guys showed up, and we've got this. We don't know how, we don't know where, but we've got this. So, lots of love all around. Next Friday, 2:30 Pacific. Go, Erica. What's your one word out? You can't.
It's in the chat.
Oh, it's in the chat. Okay, got it. She's on another thing. Okay. All right, everybody. If you want to copy the chat, open it, and then there are three little dots.
At the bottom.
The three little dots far right, click on that, and you can say save chat. And I'm going to put my name in here with my phone number and my email. And hit me directly if you want to be on the list. So either reach out to me directly or put it in chat. And we'll do this again. It's fun. We'll see where it goes. Cecilia?
Yes.
I couldn't. Were you going to say something? You look like you had.
No, I think I just want to make sure. So I gave you my text number.
I got you. I got you on here.
Blessings-
Okay. What, Doyle?
Blessings to everyone.
Blessings, blessings,
Thanks,
blessings
everybody.
all around.
All the
Keep
best.
breathing and stay in community, you guys.
Yes, absolutely.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.